Hello and welcome back to Farming Simulator 25 with me, Daddy Jokey. Today we have a bunch of different jobs to do, but we're going to start with refilling that there greenhouse. Our original greenhouse is running out of water, so we're gonna go find where I stashed the tractor, right here actually. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna refill it with water. Unfortunately, as you can see, we have a lot of straw out on the field and it is raining, so that is kind of just ruining my immersion. Not really. It it is a problem for sure though, because it is making all of our straw wet. And as you can tell, maybe my voice still doesn't sound. Ooh, wrong way. My voice still doesn't sound all that great. I am still fighting off whatever infection I picked up, who knows where, probably from my kid, and so I still sound sort of hoarse and have to cough quite frequently actually. So we'll see how this episode goes, but after we fill up the the greenhouse, we're gonna see what the weather does. Obviously you probably don't want to not harvest, but bale wet straw, because it'll just start molding. So from some semblance of realism, we should probably wait to like bale the straw until it's had time to dry out a little bit more. And I'm not really sure when that's gonna be. I don't really want to spend too much time leaving that out on the field, because I want to know how many bales we produced. I want to know, because all of our fields have produced crops that yielded straw, and so I want to know how much straw, how many bales we actually managed to make. I think that'll be kind of indicative of what we can do in terms of our cow farm, or future cow farm. So it's this one right here that needs the water. So I'm just gonna come in like so and just dump all 8,000 liters in there. And as you can see, this one right here, oh, I guess you can't see. I was hoping that it would, there we go. You can see it's got 7,200 liters. And this one got 6,400 liters. So everything is growing nicely. Look at the peppers, man. Ooh, that looks wonderful. I wish my peppers grew like this in our backyard. But yes, we needed to put water in there because this was down to like 200 liters. You can see now it is ticking down pretty rapidly. Alright, now the not fun part, the getting out from there part. Because eventually we're gonna put a chicken coop right here, and so that's gonna be a tricky situation. At the moment I could just bust right out through the field, but I want to know how this is gonna go in the future, and so I'm following the rules. So this is a tight gate, man, especially with the edge of the foil tunnel. It is a bit tricky. And then in order to do a loop-de-loop, we're gonna risk tipping over the tanker. Just kind of busting a U-turn down that way. I'm gonna go ahead and close the gate, even though we're missing a giant chunk of fence over here, so it's not like it's actually protecting our crops from all the wildlife. But you know, we have the gate. We want to close it. The other thing is a real gate would flap in the wind, so we don't want to have that, and then have the hinges all damaged because of the wind impact. So we're gonna go and nicely close up everything. It is raining pretty heavily. It looks like there's... Ooh, oh man, ooh. These are... Ooh, yikes. I know, these are some nice things over here. This we can do without. This is just whatever. But this would be nice. Although personally, if I was to buy this, I would actually download the mod that allows me to have one on the back of the trailer, of the semi-trailer. So, as exciting as it is, we're not going to spend 50 G's on a forklift. Despite the fact that we need one. I have tested in a testing environment, whatever you want to call it. I have tested a cow barn that I want to place here. I downloaded it a long time ago, but we just don't have the money and don't have the fields to actually support cow population. So I haven't really had the chance to actually use the mod, despite the fact that it's been in the list since probably like late November. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, so long as it's raining, we don't really get to do a whole lot. But in order to show you that barn, let's pop in here. And it is this one right here. As you can see, we don't have enough money just as well, because that way I don't accidentally place it. But if I zoom in, you can see it's got the milking robot right over there. Over on this side is a nice little office with a computer, and it doesn't place concrete down. So when we actually decide to build it, when we have the money and we cut down all these trees and turn this into a nice little cow pasture, we're gonna have to like put concrete down on the floor and then take it from there. So I think that's gonna be kind of exciting. But things I want to do first, kind of basic. This is gonna be a lot of like housekeeping episode, so long as there is so much rain happening. So you know, I don't know, maybe it's not gonna be all that exciting, but it's gotta be done. We have finished all the harvesting. We're gonna hitch up with this. And I'm gonna take it right over here and hose it down with the sprayer. Now, as of the time of the recording of this episode, some people out there have had the opportunity to play the new Farming Simulator VR. And regardless of what you think about it, just as a side note, I'm not going to be playing it. I don't have any VR devices, like any of the headsets and the handheld things or whatever. So I won't be doing that. However, I watched a little bit of Daggerwind's video, and I noticed that in Farming Simulator VR, washing a vehicle, I mean, aside from the fact that it takes a lot longer, it's a little bit more fun, because instead of just being able to stand like this and hold the mouse button or, you know, your choice of controller, and bam, now it's clean, you actually have to go and you have to clean all of the vehicle in order to actually get all the dirt away from it. So like you would wash your tire and it would only wash where that stream is physically impacting on the vehicle. And like I have mentioned that in previous episodes, that's kind of the stuff that I'm looking. Yeah, let's not maybe pour it on the battery packs over there, although they are covered, so it should be fine. That's the stuff that I'm talking about when I say that I think those are the changes that like Giants are neglecting. They keep adding new things, and that's great. And the game is potentially looking a little bit better every time they make it. However, you know, power washing your vehicle has been the same since power washing your vehicle has been in the game. And I think it's time for a change, for sure. It doesn't have to be as involved as it is in Farming Simulator VR, where it literally took 10 minutes to just power wash the vehicle. But it would be nice if like the dirt was at least like side dependent and only got washed from the side that you're washing, as opposed to just vanished off of the entire vehicle. But let me know if you disagree with me. Let me know if you would actually prefer if there wasn't any power washing. Okay, that should be good. And then we'll just bring in the harvester and we should be good to go. Get on out of here. And afterwards we'll see how much time we have before all this annoying rain stops. We might, if it's too long, we might as well just skip the time so that I'm not wasting recording hours. How far are we from the thing? Okay, so we're about that far. How about now? Still pretty far. I think we're gonna call it right there. That looks pretty spot on. And yeah, sorry, there might be a lot of like little pops as I turn my microphone on and off in order to not blow out your eardrums every time I have to cough, which is fairly frequently. It's happened twice so far in this episode. Now I forget what we're doing. We want this menu and we want to see the rain. So it'll rain and hail until noon or thereabouts, and then it'll get good in the afternoon. And then July 3 will be clouded, so we might have to wait until July 3 to actually do all the baling, as well as, again the wrong menu, as well as taking stuff to the grain mill. Now the other thing is that I thought in the previous one of the previous episodes, in like part 2 or part 3 of the Grand Harvest episode, I said that I think I already missed the window for carrots anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. But as it turns out, I actually haven't, and we could put in carrots. And so that's a decision that's kind of outstanding. One thing I know for sure is if we put carrots in the ground, we are not putting them on every single field that we own, because that is just not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen, because the harvest would, I mean, it would not be fun. I said previously it would literally kill me. It probably literally wouldn't, but figuratively it definitely would, and it would take every bit of joy that I might otherwise get out of Farming Simulator and just ruin it. And so I don't want to subject myself to that, and so I'm not going to. Carrots are dodgy. Maybe we could try some other stuff in the future. I don't know. Maybe spinach, but we've already missed that window. So we gotta prepare for the next harvest, which I think I said I'm gonna try and do a full canola. But in order to do that, we gotta basically get all our fields situated. We gotta get the straw off of them. Then we gotta mulch them. Then we got to cultivate them. Sorry again, coughing fit. We gotta cultivate them with our power harrow, and then we'll be ready for the next harvest. There might be some extra stuff that we have to do to the new fields, and I'm hoping by then that we're actually milling our flour and we can kind of get on with that. So I'm not going to skip time just yet. I'm just going to fast forward it to when it stops raining. So I'm gonna go over here to the shed and putter around the shed. Well, and as you can see, we're getting quite the hailstorm. Luckily, we don't have to worry about it for much longer, and all of our crops are off the field, so we don't have to worry about it at all. Now it's just time to slow the time back down, and we're gonna get to work. So evidently, all of our stuff will be soaking wet. We don't want to have to, we don't want to have moldy bales, which isn't a feature. So we could technically just pick up the baler and go baling. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to start driving all of the barley and all the oats out of here. And take them to where they need to go. So previously I did look, where are the factories? Over here. Previously I did look to see if we had the cereal factory into which to take our oats, but we don't, so we're gonna produce barley and oat flour. ¿Por qué no? Let's go and get the barley out of the silo. Technically it doesn't matter what we do first, but since the barley's older, let's use the barley, because it would be deteriorating the longer it sits there, and we don't want none of that. So we're gonna start filling with barley, and we have a few trips ahead of us, actually. 77,000 liters of barley. That's gonna be at least 4 trips, I reckon, because we have 22,500 liter trailer, so it'll definitely be 4. And power. So like I said, a bit of a housekeeping episode. We could be doing the baling, and if we had another trailer, if we had another tractor, or if we had a semi that could pull this dang thing, that would be lovely. That way we could send a worker to deliver the stuff there. Unfortunately, we can't set them up to do bales. You kind of can. You can... actually, I'm not really sure it works, but you can try to use the working width of your combine as the working width on the baler, and potentially they might be able to actually do some work, but that might not be something that the game handles default. It may be something like Courseplay or whatever other mod is available that allows you to set workers out on the fields like that, because they will just go and say, hey, there's no work on the field for me. So, you know, it's one of them things. But anyway, we've got a couple drives ahead of us, and to be honest, okay, look, school bus is trying to get fired. To be honest, I don't really have that much to talk about in terms of actually physically driving back and forth. Even though it is literally just here, this would be a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot more fun if we had a semi. And I feel like outside of buying more and more fields, which, like, we kind of need that in order to actually get cranking with stuff, buying a semi should be the next kind of target. So here we are at the mill. I think the office is from the other side. And just as a reminder, I do have a mod currently downloaded that speeds up the production by quite a great bit. So you're gonna see, we're gonna lease it obviously because we don't have that much money. We're gonna activate barley, activate oat, and we're gonna drop in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually fill with oat on the next run so that it can start cranking things out. But before we go anywhere, I'm gonna pop in into the settings menu, which I think is the one that I want. Game settings, general settings. This is the one that I want. And over here we have a production list, and in the production list we are gonna find barley flour, enable, and oat flour, enable. And as you can see over here, we have it set to a 5 times multiplier. So that means as soon as we drop the stuff in there, it's gonna start cranking out the flour 5 times faster, and we won't have to wait for it for several months. So barley in. Actually, is this tall enough? Yeah, it's good. Okay. Barley in, and I'm almost certain that by the time we get back to here with a round of oat, we will have a stack of flour waiting for us outside, because the 5 time multiplier makes it so much faster, and pretty much as it should be, right? Like I said when we were doing the carrots, if preserving one field of carrots took as long as it did in that canning factory in the game by default, we would have canning factories all over the place just to can the food that we have, right? Like, it was a ridiculous amount of time that it took to do that. But now we have this mod, and we don't have to deal with that. It basically will crank it out. We'll see how fast. We'll actually measure it. Obviously, it's 5 times faster, so whatever the base speed in the game is, 5 times that is how fast it goes. Unfortunately, the game doesn't really have any meaningful like metric for that. So we don't actually know, you know, like how much. I mean, I guess it does. It says how many cycles per day, and you know how many things are made in a cycle. However, it would be nice if it also just allowed you to get some totals without having to use an external calculator. But yes, we are gonna grab another round, deliver it over there, and see if we already have a thing waiting. So we're gonna stop right there, and let's grab the oat. We only have 58,000 liters of oat, so that's 2 rounds of oat. Actually, lies, that's 3 rounds of oat just as well, because the third round's gonna be kind of, we could fit it in a wheelbarrow, but it is what it is. So yes, so currently the things I'm looking out for in the used equipment section of the internet, in our little PDA. Oh man, I remember when Farming Simulator used a PDA for your map. You had, yeah, that was fun. It actually looked like a Garmin navigation. Other options were available. Not a sponsor. Like they can afford it. But so I'm looking out for a semi-truck and also a tractor, because we kind of need another one so that we can actually employ a worker while also retaining the ability to do things, right? So this tractor is currently doing everything on the farm. It is our front loader, it is our bale picker upper, it is our plowing machine, our seeding machine. If this tractor were to break down, we'd be, what's the polite American idiom? We'd be up a creek. There we go. We'd be up a creek. Luckily, the game doesn't really. Ooh, you freaking lunatic! Check out that reaction time, eh? But you know, if the game simulated breakdowns a little bit better, I might be into it. But I don't really care for this little blue bar and the arbitrary, you know, if you fix it within 10%, it's cheaper than, and so on and so forth. And there are other mods out there, or there are mods out there that kind of mess around with the system, and I might look into them in a future series when we are done with Riverbend Springs. For Riverbend Springs, we're just gonna leave well enough alone and not worry about this. I'm gonna leave the tractor over here, and I'm gonna see. So it has 250 liters of flour. So what I want to know is that another pallet? It is not. It is the one that's currently here. And I'm hoping that it is going to be producing sort of the right amount, I guess is what I'm looking to say. Because we have 2 inputs and we have the same output. As far as the game's concerned, flour is flour. There are no types. And so that's kind of actually a shame, but but it basically enables us to power through all of our stuff at hopefully double time. We'll see. I don't know what's up with that intersection. Every time we go over it with an empty trailer, it feels extremely bumpy. But yes, so we're gonna ferry everything over there. As you can see, Farming Simulator is often an exciting video game. Yeah, if you're not into simulators, you probably won't enjoy this, right? Driving back and forth what is it, 7 times with a trailer. If that's not your cup of tea, you're probably not going to enjoy Farming Simulator much. But, you know, it's one of those things where if you're playing any game, even something like a management sim or, you know, like a city builder or something, things are always kind of rough until you get the bigger and better things, right? If we had, let's go in here, start filling, and then we'll hop into the store. If we had, let's say, something like this, okay, maybe not that, I don't think that's actually a bulk trailer. Yeah, no, that's not a bulk trailer. If we had something like this, right, that can handle almost 60,000 liters of stuff, right? And so we would just ship that all away in one, right? So when we have something like that, it'll all be a lot easier, and that's kind of the progression of Farming Simulator, right? Nobody forces you to actually do any of this progression or you know, air quotation marks progression, because that's not necessarily what the game is about. The game isn't about, you know, there isn't a victory milestone. Yeah, you have won Farming Simulator when you have, you know, $1 billion, or when you have all the best machinery. You just kind of play Farming Simulator until you don't want to play it anymore, and then you put it on a shelf, and then you come back to it sometime later. Or, you know, you switch a map and you decide, last game I did cows, this game I'm gonna do pigs. Or, you know, I promise this game I won't do any cereal farming. Whatever works. Those are kind of the arbitrary milestones you can set up for yourself with pretty much any simulator game. That was my fault, we almost crashed into the cement mixer. But Farming Simulator in particular, like, lends itself to it, because there is a lot that you could be doing. There are a lot of mods. Recently, Farming Simulator Giants have released the Silver and Forest map from FS25 Platinum Edition, as well as all the vehicles associated with that, so all the Volvo stuff and all the Schwarzmüller and I'm actually not sure if they added the cargo containers, but probably would be my guess. And so, you know, if lumberjacking is your thing, you can do that, even though I find that nothing has changed between FS22 and FS25, at least not for the better in terms of the handling of logs, and so I personally don't enjoy it. But, you know, if that's your cup of tea, that's all good, that's gravy. Let's see. We have produced a pallet. It is sitting out there just to make sure that we don't have it set to anything silly. We have it set to silly. I am annoyed with myself, because that's not what I wanted to be happening. I wanted to be storing. So it is very likely that we have already sold. Let's actually look into our finances. Sold wool? No. Sold products, yeah. So we have already sold $10,000 dollars worth of flour. Which actually, is that right? I don't actually know if that's right. I feel like it isn't. I feel like we had less money, but we didn't have 10,000 less. But anyway, yeah, so that was my fault. I didn't check if we were in the correct thing. Could have sworn I did, but apparently I didn't. So we'll just leave it as is, and then we'll see how many pallets there are sitting duck over there at the factory or grain mill. And so I'm thinking time lapse. Let's do a quick little time lapse to shuffle all of this product over there, and then we'll just call it a day over there. So enjoy the music. Okay, so this is the last load, and I am experiencing a lot of FPS loss, and I don't quite know why. So I have gone, and you can see it. If for you there was no gap in the recording whatsoever, but I went and downloaded some temperature monitoring software so that I could actually track and see what happens when my temperature, or rather when the lags are occurring. See if we're suffering from maybe GPU overheating, which is entirely possible because I do hear my fans kind of spooling up quite rapidly, and my room is hot, like real hot. So we'll see. We're currently hovering around 50, between 52 and 58, sometimes touching 60, which is where I ideally like it, so I can export videos at 60 FPS. But that hasn't been possible recently because of all of this jankiness. But here we go with the last load, and then we can go and see how many we have. We have at least 2 pallets already ready, so that's exciting. Mark that up, dump the last of our barley, and go have a peeky. Let's go hither, and 2. Oh, okay, so far only 2. It would have likely been 3. And they are each, how many? 1,000 liters, yep. So there would have been at least 1 more if we hadn't set it to selling. But my mistake. I could have sworn that I made sure it was set to the right thing, but evidently not. So no reason to worry about it. But yeah, so we're gonna let the grain mill do what a grain mill does, convert all of our crops into flour, and then we're gonna convert that flour into dollars. And we don't have to wait for any arbitrary increases in prices because of some seasonality. We just make the flour and ship that thing right out of here. So as soon as all of the flour is done, we're gonna go pick it up with our, well, we don't know, hopefully with a new vehicle that would enable us to pick it all up, like a semi-trailer. But you know, we don't have that kind of money currently. So yeah, before we do the outro, I want to actually look and check my store, because it almost looks like, and there was a giant FPS spike, but I didn't manage to actually look at the, there it is. Yeah, so I just kind of casually drifted as I quickly tabbed out. Couldn't really see anything too out of the ordinary, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. We'll check the log files if there are any. We're gonna go and put the trailer in the shed. That's pretty much it for the trailer for this season, unless we do some stone picking. So I'm just gonna back that thing right into here. This is our bulky vehicle shed. And then, bam, dropped it there. And then we're gonna hop in the shop. I think this is, yeah, this is the mod that allows us to have the forklift sitting on the back of it. So this forklift can't do it because it's not the modded one, but it is the same forklift, just with the right keywords, I guess. Actually, just kidding, it is not the same, and it is cheaper, so that's actually much nicer. And so this is the one we're gonna get. It is like a little tri-key, and it connects to the back of the vehicle using these mounts right here. So you just kind of poke your forks into there and lift yourself up, and then you drive on the back of the vehicle. That way you can actually do whatever you want in terms of like loading up and unloading wherever you want. So this is a trailer that I want to get for sure, because it'll allow us to put in all of the all of our production stuff. And this one is just a slightly different version of basically the in-game. Well, I guess it's not in here anymore. It's basically just a flatbed. So we could also get this one if we didn't want the side skirts. But yeah, I don't know. It's not cheaper. It's actually more expensive than the one with the skirts. So I don't really know what the story is on that. Nor do I know. It doesn't have any ability to put in like timber runners like these things. So I don't really know. Don't really know why we would get it. But we would need a semi, or in the absence of a semi, we'd need a dolly. And my thing is that I really hate the dollies. They are an absolute pain in the butt. They are admittedly even worse, I think, than an articulated trailer. Even though it actually makes no sense for it to be. Where are they? Miscellaneous? I don't even know where they are. Doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about it. It's not on sale. What is on sale, or what is for sale, is the New Holland grape harvester. So if we were actually set for any kind of grape work, that'd be nice. But we're not. So tough life. We'll be using this here little pickup truck to move all of that flour, and it'll be hilarious again because we'll load it up like a mule. But let's call it. Let's not stretch this episode any longer than it needs to be. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.